The control panel of the small spacecraft flashed red as it tumbled through space. Captain Jum Kim gripped his seat, knuckles white. Beside him, Engineer Ta Park frantically worked the emergency systems. "Can you stabilize it?" Jun shouted over the blaring alarms. Ta shook his head. "Main engines dead. Life support failing. We need to abandon ship." Their mining expedition had been routine until they'd encountered the strange spatial anomaly. Now their ship was breaking apart around them. "Coordinates?" June asked, already unbuckling to move toward the escape pod. "Unknown," Tai replied, grabbing the emergency kit. "But sensors show a habitable planet nearby. It's our only chance." They scrambled into the cramped escape pod, and Ta initiated the launch sequence. The pod ejected with a violent jolt, sending them spinning away from their doomed vessel. Through the small viewport, they watched their ship explode in a brief, silent flash. "Brace for atmospheric entry," Jun called out, securing his harness tighter. The pod shuddered violently as it hit the planet's atmosphere. Heat built up around the hull, and the temperature inside rose uncomfortably. Warning indicators flashed across the control panel. Their descent was too steep, too fast. "Deploying emergency thrusters," Tai announced, his voice tight with concentration. The pod jerked as small stabilizing rockets fired, slowing their fall slightly but not enough. "Prepare for rough landing." The last thing June saw before impact was the rush of green landscape through the viewport. Then came darkness. June woke to the smell of burned metal and the sound of Tai coughing. His head throbbed painfully. Opening his eyes, he saw daylight streaming through a crack in the pod's hull. "You're alive," Ta said, relief evident in his voice. A cut above his eye had left a trail of dried blood down his cheek. "I wasn't sure for a while there." "How long was I out?" June asked, carefully checking himself for injuries. His ribs hurt, but nothing seemed broken. "About an hour. I've been trying to get emergency systems online." June looked around the damaged pod. "Any luck?" Ta shook his head. "Communications array is destroyed. Beacons not transmitting. We're on our own for now." With effort, they forced open the damaged hatch. Warm, sweet-smelling air rushed in. They emerged into a forest clearing created by their crash. Tall trees with purple-tinged leaves surrounded them, and the ground was covered in soft blue moss. 2 suns shone in a pale green sky. "Breathable atmosphere," Ta noted, consulting his portable scanner. "Gravity slightly less than Earth standard. Temperature comfortable." June surveyed the crash site. The pod had carved a long furrow through the forest before coming to rest. Debris was scattered along their path. "We should collect anything useful before exploring further." They spent the next hour salvaging supplies from the wreckage. Food packets, water purifiers, a medical kit, and some basic tools were among their findings. Tai also recovered parts that might help repair the communication system. "If we can get the emergency beacon working," he explained, "someone might pick up our signal." "How long would that take?" June asked. Ta shrugged. "Days, maybe weeks, if we're lucky." As the day wore on, both men felt the sensation of being watched. June kept glancing over his shoulder at the silent forest. "You feel it too?" Ta asked quietly as they organized their supplies. June nodded. "We're not alone." A soft, rustling sound came from the underbrush. Both men turned toward it, June reaching for the emergency laser cutter, the closest thing they had to a weapon. "Hello," he called out cautiously. "We mean no harm." The bushes parted, and a tall figure stepped into the clearing. Both men froze in surprise. It was clearly female, but not human. She stood nearly 7 feet tall with delicate silver-blue skin that seemed to shimmer in the sunlight. Her eyes were large and purely violet, without whites or visible pupils. Long, flowing hair the color of platinum moved gently even without wind. Her features were striking. High cheekbones, full lips, and an elegant, elongated face. She wore clothing that seemed to be made of a fabric that changed colors subtly as she moved, flowing around her slender form. In her hand was a small device that glowed softly. "Incredible," whispered Ta. More figures emerged from the forest, all female, all with the same otherworldly beauty. They moved with a grace that seemed almost liquid, surrounding the crashed pod and its 2 human occupants. The first alien approached cautiously, her violet eyes studying them intently. She spoke, her voice musical and complex, completely unlike any language the men had heard before. Jun held up his hands in a universal gesture of peace. "We crashed. Our ship." He pointed upward, then to the damaged pod. "We need help." The alien tilted her head, considering. Then she raised her glowing device. It pulsed with light, scanning both men from head to toe. After a moment, she spoke again, this time into the device. To their astonishment, it responded in accented but understandable English. "You are from beyond the stars. Males, this is unexpected. Follow us. The council must see this." Jun and Tai exchanged glances. They had no choice but to trust these beings. "Should we?" Tai asked quietly. Jun looked at their damaged pod, then at the beautiful aliens waiting patiently. "Do we have a better option?" With that, they gathered their most essential supplies and prepared to follow their mysterious hosts deeper into the alien forest, leaving the wreckage of their pod behind, along with any immediate hope of rescue. The alien women led Jun and Tai through the forest along a path that seemed to appear and disappear with each step. The vegetation changed from purple-tinged trees to strange crystalline growths that chimed softly when brushed against. Small creatures with too many legs scattered at their approach. "I'm Era," said the tall alien who had first spoken to them. Her translation device hung at her neck, glowing faintly. "You are on Noveria, homeworld of the Nari." "I'm Captain Jum Kim, and this is Engineer Ta Park," Jun replied, struggling to keep pace with the alien's long strides. "We're from Earth." Era's violet eyes showed no recognition at the name. "Your world is unknown to us. We have not had visitors from the stars in many generations." After an hour of walking, they emerged from the forest onto a ridge overlooking a vast valley. Both men stopped, awestruck by the view. A city spread before them, unlike anything on Earth. Buildings of crystal and what looked like living materials spiraled upward, connected by arching bridges. The structures weren't built on the land, but seemed to grow from it. Light flowed through the translucent buildings like liquid, pulsing in gentle rhythms. "Welcome to Hana," Era said, watching their reactions with interest. "It's beautiful," Ta whispered. The descent into the city attracted attention. Nari stopped their activities to watch the procession, their violet eyes wide with curiosity. All of them were female, tall and graceful with the same silvery blue skin and platinum hair. They whispered among themselves, pointing at the humans. "Why are they so surprised?" Jun asked Ara. "We have not seen males in many generations," she replied simply. Tai raised his eyebrows. "None at all." "How do you?" He trailed off, embarrassed. Ara seemed to understand his unasked question. "Our reproduction has been managed through biological science for centuries. But we face difficulties now. Our genetic diversity diminishes with each generation." They were led to a central structure that rose higher than the others. Inside, the walls glowed with soft light, and the floor felt warm beneath their feet. The air smelled of something sweet and spicy. "The council will see you now," Era said, gesturing toward an open doorway. The chamber beyond was circular, with 7 Nari seated in high-backed chairs arranged in a semicircle. Their clothing was more elaborate than the others, with patterns that shifted and changed continuously. The central figure stood as they entered. She was older than Era, with faint lines around her eyes and a more silvery tone to her hair. "I am Dara, first speaker of the Nari Council," she said, her voice coming through Era's translator. "You are the first visitors from beyond our world in 500 cycles." Jun stepped forward. "We thank you for your welcome. Our ship was damaged, and we were forced to crash land on your planet. A fortunate accident, perhaps, said another council member, her eyes studying them intensely. I am head of sciences. Your arrival is most timely. Timely? Tai asked. Dara nodded. Our species faces extinction. Our reproduction methods are failing. Without new genetic material, the Nari will not survive another 5 generations. June shifted uncomfortably. I'm not sure how we can help with that. Your very presence offers hope, Yun said, leaning forward. May we examine you? For scientific purposes only. June and Tide exchanged glances. What kind of examination? Tai asked cautiously. Not invasive, Yun assured them. We have advanced medical technology. We wish to understand your biology. After a brief discussion, the men agreed. They were led to another room filled with equipment that hummed softly. Here, several Nari in matching blue clothing waited. These are our medical specialists, Era explained. I will remain to translate if needed. The examination was strange but painless. Light beams scanned their bodies while floating orbs recorded data. The Nari specialists murmured to each other, their expressions growing increasingly excited. What are they saying? June asked Ara. They are surprised by your genetic structure, she replied. It appears to be compatible with ours, more compatible than they expected. When the examination finished, they were brought to comfortable quarters. The room had no corners, just gently curving walls that glowed with soft light. Strange but comfortable furniture seemed to grow from the floor. Rest now, Era told them. Tomorrow, we will speak more of your situation, and perhaps how we might help each other. After she left, Ta sat on one of the odd-shaped couches. Did you understand what they were suggesting? June nodded slowly. I think they want our help to save their species. Through our genetic material, Tai added, looking uncomfortable. What do we do about that? We need to be careful, June replied. We don't know enough about their society or intentions yet, but they seem peaceful, and they're our only hope for getting off this planet. That night, as they tried to sleep in the strange room with its ever-present soft glow, both men pondered their situation. They were stranded on an alien world, surrounded by beautiful female aliens who seemed very interested in their genetic material. And based on the looks exchanged among the council members, not all the Nari agreed on how to proceed. June, Ta whispered in the darkness. Do you think we're guests here, or specimens? June stared at the ceiling, where patterns of light moved like slow-motion waves. I don't know, but I plan to find out tomorrow. Outside their window, the twin moons of Novaria cast pale light over the crystal city of Hana, where the Nari were already debating the fate of their unexpected visitors from the stars. Morning arrived with a gentle increase in the light flowing through the walls of their room. June woke first, momentarily confused by the unfamiliar surroundings before remembering their crash landing and the beautiful alien city. Tai stirred from his sleep when a musical tone filled the room. A panel in the wall slid open, revealing Era and another Nari carrying what appeared to be clothing. I trust you rested well, Era said through her translator. The council has many questions for you today. But first, we thought you might appreciate fresh clothing. The garments they offered were similar to what the Nari wore, lightweight, shimmering material that seemed to adjust its size as June and Tai put them on. This is comfortable, Ta commented, surprised. What is it made of? Living textile, Era explained. It responds to your body temperature and movement. All our materials work in harmony with their users. After a breakfast of unfamiliar but delicious fruits, they were led to a large dome filled with plants and small pools of water. Here, several Nari waited, including Yun from the council. Today begins our cultural exchange, Yun announced. We wish to learn about your world, and you should learn about ours. What followed was a fascinating day of discussions. The humans described Earth, its history, and their space exploration. The Nari listened with great interest, especially to stories about human family structures and relationships. Your method of pair bonding for reproduction seems inefficient, noted a young Nari named Mina, who had joined them midday. Yet you speak of it with great emotion. Love isn't about efficiency, June explained with a smile. It's about connection. Mina tilted her head. Connection, yes. We understand this concept, though differently. As the day progressed, Ta found himself drawn to Ian's scientific knowledge. She showed him their technology center, where crystal-based computers processed information through light rather than electricity. Your engineering is remarkable, Ta said, examining a device that floated above its base. But if you're so advanced, why haven't you developed space travel? Ian's expression grew serious. We had such technology long ago, but it was abandoned after the Great Division. Great Division? Ta asked. Before my time, when the male Nari left our world, she explained. Some say they were driven away, others say they chose to leave. The truth is lost in time. Since then, we have focused inward, perfecting our society rather than reaching outward. Meanwhile, June toured the city's cultural center with Ara. He was shown beautiful artworks that changed their appearance based on the viewer's emotions and heard music that adapted to the listener's thoughts. Your art is interactive, he observed. Everything in your society seems to be living or responsive in some way. Ara nodded. The Nari believe in harmony between all things. Nothing should be static or separate. As evening approached, they were invited to a gathering in a large public space. Hundreds of Nari had assembled to see the visitors. Many brought gifts, small crystals, woven items, or peculiar plants. They're very friendly, June commented to Ara. Most are curious, she replied. Some are hopeful. Your arrival has created quite a stir in our society. During the gathering, June noticed divided reactions among the Nari. While many were welcoming, some kept their distance, watching with guarded expressions. One in particular, a tall Nari with unusual markings on her face, observed them with unmistakable suspicion. Who is that? June asked Ara, nodding toward the marked Nari. Duri. She leads the traditional faction in the council, Ara explained quietly. She believes interaction with outsiders will corrupt our culture. She opposed even your examination. Later, as they returned to their quarters, Ta shared what he had learned about Nari reproduction. They used genetic material harvested from their population, recombined in labs, he explained. But centuries of this has led to limited diversity. They're experiencing increased birth defects and shorter lifespans, and they think we might help somehow. June asked. Ian believes human genetic material could revitalize their species, Tay replied. But there's disagreement about how to proceed. Some want to simply study our DNA. Others, he hesitated, want more direct contributions. June finished. That night, a soft chime alerted them to a visitor. It was Mina, the young Nari from earlier, looking nervous. I came to warn you, she said in a hushed voice. Duri's faction is gaining support. They argue that as rare specimens, you should not have freedom of movement. They wish to contain you for intensive study. Study? Tai asked, alarmed. Or experimentation? Mina looked down. I should not be telling you this, but I believe in choice. Not all Nari support Duri's methods. After she left, the two men sat in worried silence. We need to find a way to contact our people, Jun said finally, or at least repair the emergency beacon. I might be able to help with that, Tay replied. Ian has offered me access to their technology center tomorrow. With their resources, I could possibly adapt something to boost our signal. June nodded thoughtfully. Good. In the meantime, I'll try to learn more about their political situation. We need allies here. Outside their window, the lights of Hannah pulsed in patterns that seemed almost like a heartbeat. Beautiful but alien, just like the culture they were now immersed in. A culture that viewed them as both guests and potential salvation. 3 days passed as June and Ta became more integrated into Nari society. Ta spent hours in the technology center with Yun, learning their crystal-based computing systems while secretly working on a way to boost their emergency beacon signal. June, meanwhile, studied Nari culture and politics, building relationships with council members who seemed sympathetic to their situation. "The divide is growing wider," Era told June as they walked through a garden of bioluminescent plants. "Duri's faction gains support each day. They argue that the fate of our species outweighs the rights of two outsiders." "And what do you believe?" June asked carefully. "I believe forcing others is never the path to harmony," she replied, her violet eyes meeting his. "But I also understand the fear driving Duri's supporters. Our children are born weaker with each generation." That evening, Minna slipped them a message during dinner. "Duri plans to act soon. Be careful tomorrow." "We need to accelerate our plans," June told Todd when they were alone. "How's the beacon coming?" "I've nearly completed it," Tai replied. "Eon has been incredibly helpful, though she doesn't know exactly what I'm building. I told her it's a cultural artifact that holds significance for humans." "Can she be trusted?" Ta hesitated. "I think so. She values knowledge over politics, but we should be ready to move quickly." The next morning, Yun invited them to see a natural wonder outside the city, a field of crystal formations that resonated with musical tones when the twin suns hit them at midday. "It is one of our most sacred sites," Yun explained, as they traveled in a floating vehicle that skimmed silently over the landscape. "Few outsiders have ever seen it." "We're honored," Jun said sincerely. The crystal field was truly spectacular. Thousands of transparent spires rising from purple soil, each vibrating with different notes as sunlight struck them. The humans walked among them in awe, listening to the natural symphony. It was while they were separated, each exploring different sections of the field, that the trap was sprung. 6 Neri with face markings like Duri suddenly surrounded Tai, cutting him off from the others. At the same time, another group approached June. "By authority of the Preservation Committee, you are being contained for the survival of our species," announced one of the Nari, activating a device that created a shimmering force field around June. Across the field, Tai was similarly trapped. Lun rushed toward them, shouting in the musical Nari language, clearly upset. "This is unauthorized," she yelled through her translator. "The Council has not approved this action." "The Council moves too slowly," replied the leader of Duri's group. "These specimens cannot be allowed to leave. Our species' survival is at stake." "We won't be treated as specimens," Jun said firmly, examining the force field around him. He noticed it wavered slightly when he pushed against certain points. A commotion broke out as Era and several other Neri arrived, having followed them from the city. They argued heatedly with Duri's followers. In the confusion, Jun caught Ta's eye and gestured subtly toward the force field's fluctuations. Ta nodded slightly, understanding the unspoken plan. "Your technology is impressive," Ta called out loudly, drawing attention. "These force fields must require significant power. Do you generate it locally or transmit it from the city?" As several Neri turned to answer his question, Jun pushed hard against a weak spot in his containment field. It sputtered and collapsed. Immediately, he rolled away and sprinted toward a dense cluster of crystal formations. Ta did the same a moment later, his scientific questions having successfully distracted his captors. Duri's followers gave chase, but the humans used the crystal maze to their advantage, weaving through the narrower passages where the taller Neri struggled to follow. "This way," called Elon unexpectedly from behind a large formation. She led them to a small cave hidden among the crystals. Quickly, inside. Once hidden, she activated a device that camouflaged the entrance. "I apologize for this," she said. "Duri has grown desperate. She fears extinction more than she values ethics." "What happens now?" Tai asked. "Era has gone to summon the full council," Yun explained. "This unauthorized action violates our most basic laws, but Duri believes the end justifies any means." "We just want to go home," Jun said. "We never intended to get involved in your politics." Yun's expression softened. I know, but your arrival has forced our society to confront issues we've avoided for generations. The division between those who would force others and those who seek willing cooperation. They remained hidden until sunset, when Mina arrived with news. The council has convened an emergency session, she reported. Most members condemn Duri's actions, but some support her. They debate your status even now. We need to show them another way, Ta said suddenly. Yun, if I could address the council, I have a proposal that might help both our peoples. Yun looked curious. What kind of proposal? A voluntary exchange, Tai explained. We help you with your genetic diversity problem through willing cooperation. In exchange, you help us repair our communications to contact our people. And when your people arrive? Yun asked. We propose a formal alliance, Jun continued, understanding Ta's plan. Cultural and scientific exchange between our worlds, based on mutual respect. Mina's eyes widened. This could unite our divided factions. As night fell over the crystal field, they made their way back to the city, evading Duri's search parties. Tomorrow, they would present their proposal to the council, a solution based on cooperation rather than coercion, offering hope to the Nari while preserving their own freedom. The crystal spires hummed softly in the darkness behind them, their music fading as the moons rose over Noveria. The council chamber was filled beyond capacity. Word of the humans' proposal had spread quickly through Hana, and many Nari had gathered to witness this historic meeting. Jun and Tai stood in the center of the room, with Ara and Yun beside them as supporters. Duri stood opposite them, her face markings seeming more pronounced under the chamber's bright light. These outsiders should not dictate terms to us, she argued. Our species faces extinction. We cannot risk our future on their promises. First Speaker Dara raised her hand for silence. We will hear the proposal in full before judgment is made. Ta stepped forward. For days now, I've worked in your technology center. With Yun's guidance, I've not only found a way to repair our communication device, but also study your genetic science. He activated a small holographic projector he borrowed from the lab. It displayed complex genetic structures floating in the air. Your problem isn't just limited genetic diversity, he continued. It's that your cloning techniques have introduced copying errors over generations. Human genetic material could help, but forced collection isn't the answer. Jun joined him. We propose a volunteer exchange program. If our people agree, those who wish to help could provide genetic material safely and ethically. In return, we ask for your help contacting our fleet and establishing peaceful relations between our worlds. Murmurs spread through the chamber. Duri scoffed loudly. And when their people arrive with weapons, she challenged, will we still control our destiny? If we treat them as prisoners now, we guarantee hostility later, Era countered. This path offers mutual benefit with mutual respect. The debate continued for hours. Opinions divided sharply, with emotional arguments from both sides. Through it all, Jun and Tai remained calm, answering questions and addressing concerns. Finally, Dara called for a decision. We have heard enough. The council will vote. The 7 members cast their votes using crystal tokens that glowed either blue or red. When completed, 4 blue lights shone against 3 red. The proposal is accepted, Dara announced. The humans will be granted access to our communication technology. A voluntary genetic exchange program will be established if their people agree. Duri's face darkened with anger. You doom us with misplaced trust, she declared before storming from the chamber. Over the next week, Ta worked with Yun to build a powerful transmitter using Nari crystal technology, combined with parts salvaged from their escape pod. They placed it on the highest spire in Hana. This should reach your fleet, Yun said as they made final adjustments. The signal will be strong enough to penetrate the spatial anomaly that brought you here. Thank you, Tay replied sincerely. Your help means everything to us. Your knowledge has been valuable as well, she said, her violet eyes meeting his. Our scientists have already begun theoretical work based on your genetic information. If your people agree to the exchange, the Neri might survive after all. Meanwhile, June worked with Era to draft a formal agreement between humans and the Neri. Their days were filled with detailed discussions, and their evenings often spent walking through the Crystal City, learning more about each other's cultures. Your world sounds beautiful in its own way, Era told him during one such walk. So different from ours, yet perhaps complementary. Different perspectives strengthen both sides, June replied. That's something humans have learned through our own struggles. 3 days later, the transmitter picked up a response. A human voice crackled through the speaker. This is Captain Lee of the ESV Prominence. We've been searching for you for weeks. What's your situation? When June explained everything, there was a long pause before Captain Lee responded. Stand by for rescue team deployment. ETA 48 hours. The news spread quickly through Hana. Some Neri celebrated, others worried. Duri's faction grew more vocal in their opposition, warning of invasion and subjugation. Will your captain honor our agreement? Era asked June privately. I believe she will, he assured her, but we should prepare for her arrival carefully. When the rescue shuttle landed in a clearing outside the city, Captain Lee emerged with 10 crew members. Her expression remained neutral as she surveyed the gathering of Neri who had come to witness the arrival. June and Todd greeted her formally, then introduced Dara and the council members. We've reviewed your proposed agreement, Captain Lee said after the introductions. It's unprecedented, but Earth Command sees the potential benefits of peaceful exchange with an advanced species. She handed Dara a data crystal. Our preliminary approval, with some suggested modifications. The relief in the air was palpable. Even some of Duri's supporters seemed reassured by the humans' respectful approach. That evening, a celebration was held in the central plaza of Hana. Human crew members mingled with Neri citizens, awkward at first, but gradually warming to each other. Music played from crystal formations while lights danced through the transparent buildings. Tada found Yun watching the festivities from a quiet corner. Will you return to Earth? She asked him. Not right away, he replied. I've requested assignment as a scientific liaison here. There's too much to learn. Across the plaza, June stood with Era and Captain Lee, finalizing details of the new alliance. This is just the beginning, June said, looking out over the mixed gathering of humans and Neri, 2 species helping each other survive and thrive. From a crash landing to a new future, Era added, perhaps some accidents are fortunate after all. 6 months later, the first joint human-Neri research vessel prepared for its maiden voyage. Built with Neri crystal technology and human propulsion systems, it represented the successful integration of both worlds' knowledge. On the observation deck, June watched the final preparations alongside Era, now the official Neri ambassador to Earth. Do you ever regret crashing here? She asked. June smiled, thinking of how a disaster had transformed into something wonderful. Never. Some journeys have unexpected destinations for a reason. Below them, human and Neri crew members worked side by side, their differences complementing rather than dividing them. A new horizon for both species, born from the most unlikely of beginnings.